Imagine being born a mistake. You are bullied, laughed at, and eventually chased away from your home with your mother, left to die in the wilderness. But instead of dying, you grow up. You completely reinvent the way human beings fight. You build in an unstoppable army, return to the people who bullied you, and conquer them all. This isn't a movie plot. This is the true story of Shaka Zulu, the outcast who threw away the throwing spear, changed warfare forever, and built one of the most famous empires in African history. To understand the warrior, we have to look at the boy. Our story begins around 1787 in the eastern part of South Africa, in an area known today as KwaZulu-Natal. Back then, the Zulu clan was tiny, just a few thousand people. The chief of this clan, Senzangakona, made a mistake. He got a young woman from a neighboring tribe pregnant out of wedlock. Her name was Nandi. When the Zulu elders heard Nandi was pregnant, they didn't believe it. They tried to cover up the scandal by claiming she wasn't pregnant at all. She just had a stomach bug caused by a local beetle called an ishaka. But months later, Nandi gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Defiantly, she named him Shaka. The bug was real. Shaka's childhood was miserable because he was an illegitimate son. He and his mother were treated terribly. The other children bullied him, teased him about his small features, and made his life a living hell. Eventually, the abuse became too much. Nandi and young Shaka were exiled, kicked out of the clan to fend for themselves. They wandered from tribe to tribe seeking shelter. Shaka grew up hungry, angry, and fiercely protective of his mother. But this pain did not break him, it forged him. Eventually, they found a home with the powerful Mtetwa tribe, ruled by a wise chief named Dingiswayo. Here, Shaka wasn't just a bullied outcast anymore. He grew incredibly tall, muscular, and fearless. He joined the military, and this is where the world would change forever. As a young soldier, Shaka looked at how African tribes fought, and he thought it was ridiculous. At the time, warfare in southern Africa was almost like a violent sport. Two armies would line up on opposite hills. They would throw long spears at each other, shout insults, hold up tiny shields to block. And when someone got hurt, they would all pack up and go home. Shaka realized something terrifyingly simple. War is not a game. War is about total destruction of your enemy. So he decided to break all the rules. First, he changed the weapon. Shaka took the traditional long-throwing spear and snapped the wooden handle in half. He created a short, heavy, stabbing spear with a massive blade. He called it the Iklwa, named after the sucking sound it made when it was pulled out of a body. You didn't throw it. You looked your enemy in the eye and fought hand to hand. Second, he changed the shield. He introduced massive cowhide shields that covered a warrior's entire body. He taught his men to use the shield to hook the enemy's shield and pull it away, leaving their ribs wide open for the Iklwa. Third, he changed the footwear. Shaka ordered his men to throw away their cowskin sandals. He made them march barefoot on thorns and hot rocks until their feet were essentially made of leather. This made his army incredibly fast and agile. Finally, he changed the strategy. He invented the famous horns of the buffalo formation. The chest, the strongest fighters, would crash into the enemy head-on. The horns, the younger, faster fighters, would run around the sides to trap the enemy in a circle. The loins, veterans, would sit facing away from the battle, only turning around to fight when they were needed, so they wouldn't get overly excited. Under Chief Dingiswayo, Shaka became a legendary commander. When Dingiswayo died, Shaka didn't just take over the military. He took over the entire Mtetwa Empire, and then he marched back to the tiny Zulu clan that had banished him as a child. He took the throne. The boy named after a bug was now the king. Shaka's plan was simple but incredibly ambitious. Unite all the scattered tribes of the region under one single name, one single culture, and one single king. When Shaka conquered a neighboring tribe, he did something unusual for the time. He didn't just kill everyone and steal their cattle. Instead, he absorbed the survivors. He told them, "You are no longer from your old tribe. From today, you are Zulu." This was a stroke of genius. Shaka created a powerful sense of national pride. He built an intense military culture where your rank wasn't based on who your father was. It was based on how brave you were in battle. This completely transformed the culture of South Africans. To this day, the Zulu people are known for their deep pride, their warrior heritage, and their strong sense of identity, largely because of the foundation Shaka laid. But his rise came at a massive cost. Shaka's brutal military campaigns caused a massive ripple effect known as the Mufficane, which translates to the crushing or the scattering. As Shaka's unstoppable army expanded, smaller tribes ran away in terror. These fleeing tribes crashed into other tribes, causing a domino effect of war, starvation, and chaos across the whole southern half of the African continent. Entire nations were displaced just trying to get out of Shaka's way. He was a hero to his people, building an empire that spanned tens of thousands of square miles. But to his enemies, he was a nightmare. Even kings have a weak spot. For Shaka, it was his mother, Nandi. Remember, Nandi was the only person who loved him when the world threw him away. She was his rock, his closest advisor, and the queen mother of the Zulu kingdom. In 1827, tragedy struck. Nandi fell ill and died. When Nandi took her last breath, something inside Shaka broke. His grief wasn't just sad, it was dangerous. In his broken state of mind, he wanted the entire world to feel the pain he was feeling. He issued horrifying orders to the Zulu kingdom. He declared a year of mourning. No crops could be planted, no cows could be milked. If a woman got pregnant, both she and her husband were executed. He even ordered the killing of thousands of his own people simply because they didn't look sad enough or because their tears had dried up. His people starved. His soldiers were exhausted from endless, pointless wars. The brilliant, disciplined leader had turned into an unpredictable, grieving tyrant. The people who once worshipped him began to fear him, and in the shadows, a plot was brewing. By September of 1828, Shaka had pushed his people too far. While his main army was sent away on a tiring military campaign, Shaka was left relatively unguarded at his royal compound in modern-day KwaZulu-Natal. His half-brothers Dingaan and Mlangana saw their chance. Along with Shaka's own trusted bodyguard, Mbopa, they planned an assassination. One afternoon, as Shaka was meeting with some ambassadors, his brothers and the bodyguard struck. They ambushed him, stabbing him with the very weapons he had brought to prominence. As he lay dying, bleeding into the dust of the empire he built, legend says Shaka looked at his brothers and spoke his final words. He warned them that their rule would not last, saying, "Are you stabbing me, kings of the earth? You will come to an end through killing one another." Shaka Zulu, the boy who was chased into the wilderness, the man who built an empire of hundreds of thousands of people, died at the age of 41, killed by his own blood. Shaka Zulu ruled for only about 12 years, but in that short time, he completely changed the map of Africa. He was incredibly complex. Was he a military genius? Yes. Was he a unifier who gave birth to the proud Zulu nation? Absolutely. Was he a ruthless dictator who caused immense suffering? He was that too. But one thing is completely undeniable. Shaka Zulu took a small bullied clan of nobodies and turned them into warriors whose name would echo through eternity. He proved that it doesn't matter where you start or who rejects you. With sheer will, brilliant strategy, and unyielding courage, you can forge your own destiny. The name Shaka Zulu will never be forgotten.